you go through life, it's a long, long road. There'll be joys and sorrows too. As we journey on, we will sing this song for the boys in royal blue. We're often partisan, we will journey on. Oh, so keep right on till the end of the road. Keep right on to the end. If you're tired and weary, still journey on till you come to your happy abode, where all your love and your dreaming of will be there at the end of the road.
Music from Minnie Birch, folk singer from England, who, with her version of Keep Right On to the End of the Road, with a slightly different tune. It's the kind of harmony version, if you like. And for those who are confused by the change of tune, you're probably not half as confused as my three guests here on the Blue Zoom tonight, because they're all from the United States of America. And you know why we're doing this, because of the influx of American interest into blues since the advent of Tom's Wagner and the great Tom Brady as well. So it's good evening for me, afternoon for you guys. So introduce yourselves. Let's start with Randy. Where are you from, Randy?
I am actually from Birmingham, Alabama.
Wow. Okay. Tom Cudero, where are you from?
Yes, I'm located in Connecticut.
In Connecticut, in New England, appropriate, I guess. And Mason, where are you from?
Yes, I am from St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri, and we're all unified by a love of the club whose flag you can see in the background there, Birmingham City Football Club. I'm going to start straight away with Tom Cudero, because you have been telling me that you are a brand new fan and you're here because of Tom Brady, right?
That is true. You know, I've been a Patriot fan my whole life, so I'm obviously a Brady fan. But, you know, I've always had an affinity for English soccer and or football, as you would say. And, you know, but never really had a team to root for. Obviously, the Boston Red Sox are affiliated, own the Liverpool team. And but, you know, I wanted a team that was like on its way up, like, you know, climbing. So when Tom Brady signed on with the Blues, I just happened to send out a tweet and had tremendous response to that, and people welcoming me to the Birmingham family. And I've never seen that kind of affinity, obviously, for the club, but it really made me dig in more. And since that, I've had such wonderful engagement with so many people from the United States and obviously in England, and I'm fully on board.
Yeah, I guess that's the whole premise of this. You know, it's about growing the footprint of the club, and you're a perfect example, and other people in the US as well who may get on board. You know, football is just very difficult commercially, and the more you can stretch that the approach and get more investment from people in different areas, the better. Fantastic story. We'll come back to Tom Brady in a minute. So Randy, Birmingham, Alabama, did you get involved with blues because of the Legion connection? A few years ago, there was again, it was through social media, I think, about the kind of twinning of the two football clubs. And there was a massive exchange on social media, and that remains to this day. So are you a Legion fan as well?
I am a Legion fan and an original Legion season ticket holder, but my love of the Blues predates the Legion. I actually, I'm a sports fanatic. I love all sports, and was flipping channels one day in my house, and came across on BN Sport a Birmingham City, I believe it was probably Cardiff or something like that.
Yeah.
And just was watching the game and thinking, you know, I'm in Birmingham, they're in Birmingham, that if I, like Tom, I was looking for a team to root for, and it just kind of clicked. And starting the next season, I just started following Blues, and have been doing so ever since. And so I've ridden the train through a lot of tough times, and I'm really enjoying the beginning of this season.
You haven't seen nothing yet, any of you. I know you two have not been to Birmingham. You've been to England, I take it, before, but not to Brum, right?
I've never been to England at all.
Oh, well,
so,
we're going to change that. Yeah. Mason, you've got a really interesting story connecting you to Birmingham. You're fully American, but explain your family story.
Yes, my grandma, she came over after World War II, and my grandfather was a GI, and she was from Birmingham, and still have some relatives over there. Actually been to Birmingham once in 2007 to bring her ashes back. So,
well, so your mum was from Birmingham, and she left to sort of post-war years.
No. Oh, my grandma, sorry.
Your grandma, okay, right.
Yeah,
so you're really going back. So yeah, and met the GI, because of course, you know, Birmingham, if you ever go there, you go there, you will go, I'm sure. You know, it was just destroyed in the Blitz, you know, from the Luftwaffe. In fact, there's a bomb, you know, a Luftwaffe bomb landed on the pitch, as far as I'm aware, and you know, extraordinary stuff. And for Americans, where the war never came to, it's hard to understand. But you know, Birmingham and Coventry up the road was just flattened in the war, just completely flattened. So you know, that's quite something. And you came back with your grand's ashes in 2007, yeah.
Yeah. And I met my some relatives over there. I guess my second cousin, and still had some relatives over there. But yeah, I was only up for a day. It was a spring break trip, and I was up with some buddies from college, and brought our ashes up, and unfortunately didn't get to see a match. But yeah, it was an interesting trip.
Did you get to see St Andrews at all, or was it just a flying visit?
No, unfortunately. How should I say this? Some of my relatives, I believe, are they're for that other club across the way.
We don't mention them. Tom and Randy, you probably know who we're talking about, right?
Yes.
The Villa. Right, when you come, I mean, listen, if you go to a second city derby, you'll know about it. It's pretty intense. It's pretty lively, and over the years they normally get a bit out of hand. But it's a fantastic rivalry, and you know. I've only ever been to one MLS game. I was in the States 3 or 4 years ago, and I went to see New York City, not the Red Bulls, against Portland Timbers, who are a successful MLS team over the years. One of the better-known American clubs. And I couldn't believe how different it was, really. The whole fandom thing where, you know, there was a small knot of Portland fans, because traveling in the States, I know that the distances are bigger. But in England, the culture is for traveling to games, so you always got a big away contingent, and that makes football what it is, because it's pretty intense. I don't know if you saw the England-Scotland game last night, the international game, as we were recording this, and it was pretty lively. You know, England thrashed Scotland, as they always should do, and a certain Jude Bellingham was fantastic, ex-Blue. We'll come to him. Tom Cordero, so Tom Brady, one of your heroes, right? I hear today there's lots of talk that he might. I'm sure it's just media talk that the New York Jets wanted to come out of retirement at the age of 46. Am I hearing things right?
I mean, it's just you know, when Aaron Rodgers goes down like that, Katie bar the door. They're just they're grasping at straws and thinking of anything. That is all just conjecture. You know, Tom Brady, they had his day and Sunday in Foxborough, and he said he is always a Patriot and will always be a Patriot. So that would be the worst thing in the world. I saw some of the tweets with him in the Jet uniform, and you know, that is that is people just trying to, it's just all conjecture. I wouldn't think that he would do that.
Yeah. Tell me how much coverage in the US media was there about, I mean, over here, it really captured people's imagination. American football is not massive in the UK. I mean, a lot of people, it's got a lot of fans, and they have games, NFL games in London regularly, 3 a season, I think. But it kind of captured the imagination because, you know, Blues are a middling, struggling club, really, with a lot of potential. But so it was kind of funny, you know, you got this, you know, superstar of American sport, one of the greatest American sportsmen of all time, probably, pitching up in the UK in a sort of unfashionable club. Did it make many headlines, Tom, or that's Randy in Birmingham, Alabama? Did it make many headlines?
Well, the thing that I noticed was that Birmingham City was on the masthead of ESPN and the Athletic, and all of the national media outlets picked up, you know, Tom Brady invests in Birmingham City. And so it was I never thought I would see Birmingham City as a lead story on ESPN.com here. And it was,
trust me, we didn't either.
It was fun. And I hope that that as time goes by, it's for other reasons, but it was nice to see the splash.
Yeah. Tom Cordero, same for you. I mean, was it big?
Oh, for sure.
Which is why you got involved, so I'm guessing, yeah.
For sure. He made a lot of headlines. It was in all the papers here, as well as on all the sports stories, you know, top of a lot of websites. So that was, you know, a tremendous weekend because he stayed with, you know, when he was there for the game. And so his announcement just led to his appearance the following week, I believe it was. And that just gained tremendous following here in the States.
Yeah, and he turned up in Birmingham for the first weekend, and he went to the pub. I'm sure you, Mason's disappeared. I don't know where he's gone. Where you gone, Mason? You disappeared from that famous flag. You're still there.
He's up top.
He's up the top.
Yeah.
He's hiding.
Yeah.
You got your 22 shirt there. You're Jude Bellingham. I'll tell you what we'll do. Let me just try this, and we'll see if we can get you back into a different kind of view. So
I think you lost your virtual.
So there we go. We've lost our little flag, but what we're going to do is going to try if we can see if we can get back to something which might be appropriate here. Hey, there he is. You like that? That's clever, isn't it? Tom Brady. You know, when we saw that, we knew that Tom Brady was kind of a friend of Tom Wagner. And there was a bit of speculation in the English media that, you know, this guy might get involved. But when it did happen, everyone just went, hey, what is all this about? And that image, you're not seeing all of it, but just move to your left a bit, if you can, Randy, just a little bit.
He's got the
jersey. So you can see Tom. He's a good looking lad, isn't he? Let's be honest. But when it happened, and that thing when he with a blue shirt and he lifted his finger up. I don't know if you've ever seen the First World War recruitment drive. There's a guy called Lord Kitchener who said, "Your country needs you." I just looked at it and I thought, yeah, that's Tom, and how powerful that was in getting new fans in. Tom Cordero obviously worked for you. And I'm sure there'll be more to come as well, and not just in the US, but because, you know, as a role model, as his influence over, you know, world sports as a figure is colossal, really. So yeah, I mean, Mason, did you find out as well that you know it caught you out a bit seeing this?
Yeah, it was kind of surprising. You follow Birmingham, and it's always kind of, you don't hear a lot of championship teams, and you hear about the Prem a lot here.
Yeah,
and it was kind of the field, and you're like, wow.
Yeah. Tell me, was your grandmother who left Birmingham, was she a Blues fan, or did you just associate the city with the club? Breaking up. It's a shame. Can you hear me, Mason?
I can hear you still, yeah.
Deep as St. Louis. Yeah. So was she a Blues fan, or was it just
Yeah, my internet went up and down. So it's kind of an interesting story. I don't know if she's necessarily she enjoyed the Blues. It was more of a brother sister rivalry thing.
Yeah.
With her club, and she used to say she went against the grain, and she would always she would actually contact her sister to try to get information about the.
Yeah, families. I mean, again, this is a very strong thing in British sport. There's nowhere in the world really quite like it, where it really kind of runs through communities and families and everything, and it goes right back to Victorian time. So, and it runs very when you guys come to a game, you'll see that it's a massive community thing, and it runs very, very deep. It's hard to explain quite how much it does, but it does. And it's not just in the UK. It's a tribalism thing, and countries and cities where people identify hugely with their football team because it's a people's game. Well, Mason's gone again. It really is. That's I'll tell you what I'm going to do. We've seen Tom Brady. I'm just going to see if we can get. Randy's disappeared now. This is really strange. We'll get back to our little.
I could get down under my. Yeah.
Okay. Mason is disappeared altogether, but he's going to come back. I'm sure he is. I see, Tom. You've got the background of the club now. Tom, can you see that?
Yeah, I grabbed it in between the town. I grabbed it in between the
listen, you've got the hang of this. I'm going to show you something which will kind of bring up what I'm talking about. There you go. Now that, as you can see, is the old St Andrews. When you come, you'll see the two stands you can see now are all seated. What that is there is terracing. So you don't get that in American sports, do you? Where you come out and you stand on a concrete step, and you cram together, and it is pretty life affirming. Trust me, when you're in a fantastic atmosphere. But of course, you probably know that in the 80s, with hooliganism, violence, crowds became unsafe, and it culminated in multiple tragedies. Heysel Stadium in Belgium, but principally in England, the Hillsborough disaster in Sheffield, when 97 people were killed in a terrible crush, and that changed everything. So legislation changed, and for the top divisions, you had to have seats. But slowly but surely, they are bringing back what they call safe standing. And the two areas you're looking at now, you're probably familiar watching the Blues games on TV, that at the front of those two stands you're looking at, they've been empty for the last 2 or 3 seasons. Tom Cordero, you probably don't know that because you've only just started following, but Randy, you'll be familiar. Basically, they rebuilt the stands, and there was a problem with the structure, and for the last 3 years they've had to shut the bottom sections, and now they're reopening them. And the bit behind the goal there, so if I bring my hand over, no, wrong way, at the far end, you can see the goalposts. That's going to be safe standing behind there, and it'll be open in November. So when you come over, you need to go and do that. But it'll be nothing like it used to be. You can see how many people are crammed in there. I grew up on the terraces at St Andrews, and believe me, some of the every Blues fan looking at this now will say the same. The people who were there, it is, you can't, I mean, it was more than just a football match. It was a kind of communion, where you'd be off your feet some of the time, and you could see how it became unsafe. But it happened for 100 years before the tragedies happened. Wow.
Wow.
But that's the old St Andrews. And that wasn't the picture you're taking there. That was taken in the 1970s, I think. The old Blues kit with the white down the front. Trevor Francis, who died recently, is in that picture, I think, somewhere.
The Penguin.
Amazing memories, really. But it's all changed now.
Reading about it, I heard that St Andrews was much larger. It had a capacity of like in the 60,000.
Yeah, the record crowd was 66,000 in 1939. Yeah, but in before they changed it, it was about 52,000. Now it's down to 30 because obviously the seating makes it far less in terms of seating. But yeah, those are the pictures of as we remember them. And you know, any Blues fan or any fan of English football who follows a traditional club will say that those are the memories they'll always treasure. I'm going to take us to find a picture of the newsstand now, if I can. Here we go. So, all right. Oh, there you go. If you just lean out the way a little bit there, Tom, a little bit, you'll see mush. There you go.
Sure.
Which is an
Very
English
cool.
term for a face. That was taken by Roy Smiljanich, the Blues photographer, who's not been very well. So if you're watching this, Roy, get well soon. So you can see that those two stands you can see are the same as the ones you've just been looking at, the old painting. But that was before the seats were taken out. So where you can see now the bottom sections of those two stands, they were badly built. Simple as that. They were rusting away, and they had for 3 years they've had to rebuild that. And behind the goal now there's going to be safe standing, and those seats on the far side will return. So that's kind of and the view here is what you'll get from the main stand is what we call it. I'll show you another picture here. When I was a kid, that's pretty much where I'm leaning on that wall. The far end there is the new stand, which is open at the moment. That's all fine. But where my head is now, it was pretty much where I started watching football when I was about 6 years old. My dad took me when all the it was especially night games. You used to go, and it was just incredible. You know, the atmosphere, and I used to stare at the crowds and think, oh, "Wow, this is for me." You know. Cool. Even now, but even with the seats, you can see, you know, the seats are packed in there on a big night for the big games. It is fantastic. And but this stand on this side is where is the old main stand, which will be knocked down eventually. They've had problems doing it because of there's some listed buildings. Do you have listed buildings in the States where you can't protect it?
Sure.
Yeah. So they've had problems, but eventually it will, or they might move. The club might move to a new stadium nearby because Tom Wagner and his gang, you know, are pretty ambitious, and I suspect that might be the case. So tell me,
how would the fans feel about that? Would they want a new
stadium? That's a very good point.
Or would they want? Would they want the same thing to, you know?
It's a very traditional crowd at Blues, and a lot of people will be very loath to leave. But I think it will happen. A lot of traditional clubs have done it over the years. But you know, it's time moves on. But yeah, there are some people who would just say, "Over my dead body." You know, I mean, it was bad enough when the terraces went. I can remember the last game in the early '90s when they moved the terraces out and put the seats in, and it was like a wake. You know, and people turned up with hammers and chisels and, you know, pretty much destroyed, took the old parts of the stadium and put them in their gardens. You know, they had these things called crash barriers. I don't know, in the US where you lean on a barrier, but they've been there since the Victorian times. They were like, you know, relics, accident waiting to happen, really. And I used to always, I wrote a book about this. It's called Underdogs and Newshounds, came out at the end of last year. And I used to always think, you lean against it, if it goes over, you're going to crush your chest. And, you know, you look at the pictures of Hillsborough, it was pretty horrific. And if you were in front of it, it was even worse. So, you know, you can see why things moved on. But a lot of people, that kind of, it was totally life affirming. And, you know, when anyone looks back on those days, they will say it was, you know, it was something which you can't replicate anywhere else, really. So tell me, I mean, did you go and watch St. Louis? Where did Mason go? I don't know where he went. His link.
Yeah, he's gone.
But okay, so Tom, you are in Connecticut.
Yes.
What football clubs up there? I mean, the World Cup is coming in 2026, and I've done the last 8, so I'll be coming out for sure in 2026. You've got a few games up that way, haven't you?
Yeah, you know, the Hartford has my local, you know, state here. Hartford has a team that is in a lower American League. But we have the New England Revolution, who's owned by the Patriots, who has done very well over the last several years and had great success. Number of players have come from either Premier League teams or been sent on loan and gone over and played as well. So there is more excitement about soccer here in the U.S. Than ever before. And obviously, when I say soccer, I mean football for you.
Yeah.
But Messi's arrival in Miami has changed things and made now it's a primetime sport. The Apple intervention there in the American Professional League has elevated it as well. So there is more talk than ever here in the States with regards to football.
Yeah, and I'm sure it will be an amazing World Cup, because I've done a lot of Americans go to I was in Qatar. A lot of Americans. They're probably the best supported team there. I know a lot of them are expats, but there was in Brazil 2014. There was a massive American contingent went down there, and the team is getting better. Ranked 11 in the world. I know you just had a couple of games last week. You beat Oman 4-0 and Uzbekistan, not giants of world football, 3-0 as well. But they just picked up the guy who used to play for Arsenal, Balogun. Do you know him? He scored a goal the other day. Who went for about $40 million, I think, to Monaco in France. So that will be something to behold, I'm pretty sure, and a lot of people will go to the States because it's so easy to be a fan there, isn't it? Birmingham Legion, then, Randy, what kind of crowds do you get?
Well, it's interesting. When they started, they were at a much smaller stadium. There was a college stadium, but the crowds are in the 6,000 to 10,000 range on good nights. In fact, the Legion are in the same USL league with Hartford, I believe. Hartford.
Yep.
And they have moved to a larger football-sized stadium that holds about 35,000 or so. They're not filling that, but they are. But it is.
Is that new?
It's relatively new. It's probably 2 or 3 years old. I think the Legion are playing their second season there, but it is. The amenities are tremendous. It's a very, very nice new stadium. It's a great experience. The Legion games are fun because you have great soccer fans there, and it's really a nice experience. It's obviously not on the level of the championship or anything like that.
Yeah. I remember seeing online when the kind of that kind of twinning of the Legion and Blues came together. Right. There was this thing about Memphis, right? Is that your rivals? Yes. A bit like the Villas to Blues.
SOTM is
we won't.
Are the call letters.
Well, you can spell it out if you want, but SOTV is very well known to Blues fans. SOTM, right. Which translates, which is quite amusing.
It's still a thing. It is very much still a thing. The Legion fans and Blues fans are still in contact with one another. It was very, very interesting to me because I was already a Blues fan to have that happen. It was very exciting to contact the friends of mine that I had made in Birmingham, England. When all that was going on, we had a really good laugh about how all that happened.
So TM, that's great. Yeah, Memphis. I mean, listen, I'm sure there'd be a will for a kind of exchange, for people to go and watch some football, especially in the build up to the World Cup or during the World Cup, because
we're planning on a friendly at some point.
Yeah. No, you must spread the word and get a few people over. And you can see in the background there, that is the mural. Okay, well, I'm going to ask you who those two guys are. Come on now, you know who they are, right?
I know who they are.
Go on then.
It's Trevor
Tom,
Francis.
You have any excuses. You're new, right? You're brand new.
Trevor Francis. You know who the guy on the right is, right, Tom?
I'm not sure I do.
That's right, 22. Listen, he is fast becoming one of the best players in the world, and he played for Blues at 16. He broke through in 2019.
As did Trevor, actually.
As did Trevor. I saw his debut. Can you believe that? It was a long time ago.
Oh my!
I was there as a young boy, and Jude Bellingham is the deal. As everyone, he played against Scotland for England. He absolutely ran the show. Scored a goal, made two, and he's purring. Playing for Real Madrid, one of the most expensive players in history, and he came out of the academy at Blues, and his brothers just left the club to go and play in Sunderland in the Championship. But he is a guy. His family pretty much saved the club before Tom Wagner came in, because he could have left the club for nothing when he was a teenager, a mid-teen 16-year-old. He waited till he was 17, signed a pro deal, and then was sold to Dortmund for £30 million or thereabouts. And now he's gone for more than 100 to Real Madrid. So that's why he's a mural. And Trevor Francis, who was one of the most gifted players of his in English history. I mean, injuries unfortunately hampered him, but fantastic player, had a great career. Has very sadly died recently, and I knew Trevor very well, and I'm sure the club will be marking his passing properly in the coming weeks. But
Trevor
you can see
was
that
the first player for £1 million, right?
Is the first £1 million player, yeah, and it's amazing how that now they're going for 200 million. It's extraordinary. I know, I mean, money in American sports is just for basketball players is just crazy, but soccer's getting like it now. It's just become unreal. Listen, we're getting towards the end of our we've got a few minutes left. It's a real shame that Mason went. We're going to have to do this again, because I know there's going to be more Americans getting into this kind of thing. But you really must come over, both of you, because you will. You'd love to see. I think probably leave it till they fix the stadium at the two bottom sections, because they've been empty for the last 2 years, and the team has just been in such a mess. I mean, under Hong Kong ownership, trust me. I mean, the Blues won before your time as well, Randy, when they beat Arsenal in the League Cup final in 2011. That was quite a day. It was quite a day. Second major trophy, but then got relegated from the Premier League the same season, and we've been in the Championship for the longest time now of any club there. But signs are under our American friends now that things might change, and recruitment's been good, unbeaten so far. So we record this. We got Watford this weekend, who ex-Premier League club recently, but I wonder. I think it'll be a very interesting season. Tom, have you learned the song yet?
It's one of the first things that was sent to me via Twitter. Was someone sent a YouTube video of the song itself. I don't have it memorized, but
yeah. Okay, if I jump out, if I lean out of the frame, see the KRO there. Keep right on. Yeah, is the hashtag, which is always on the end on social media from Blues fans. But it's trust me, when you come and you hear that sung properly, your hairs will stand on the back of your neck.
Can't wait.
There's a campaign at the moment, and we're all of a certain vintage, that when it was sung in the old Terrace days, it was sung kind of slower and like a hymn. It was so evocative. It's got faster as the years have gone on, but there's a campaign to slow it down again. So, and I think that maybe it's a generational thing, but the younger lads are sort of they speed it up and do all sorts of things with it. But it's a fantastic. It's one of the best anthems in English football, probably only second. And I'm being respectful here to Liverpool's "You'll Never Walk Alone," which you'll know, of course. Famous song. But Keep It On to the End of the Road is a great one. So yeah, I mean, it's very exciting times. Just finally, from both of you, I mean, what is when you say in the States, in the Legion area, in Birmingham and in Connecticut, that you're a Blues fan, do people look at you funny and go, "What? Who are they?" Or has it changed since Tom Brady came?
Well, they used to. Until the Birmingham Legion, Birmingham uniting of sorts. It was really funny because right after that happened, I went to a Legion game with my Legion hat and my Birmingham shirt, and one of the owners of the Legion told me, he said, we're gonna have a friendly someday, but you're gonna have to root for the Legion," and I just didn't respond.
There you go. And
Well,
Tom,
for me here, there's been, the announcement by Tom Brady made it relevant to so many more people, right? So that automatically put the Blues on the map. But the fact that I'm, I haven't been able to connect with Blues TV yet. I was either traveling or haven't seen a game using the package or anything yet. So I'm following along on Twitter, and my family is like, "What are you doing? 10 o'clock in the morning? You're, paying attention to a football game, right?" But
wait,
that's the
we got
best way
some
I can follow
6:30.
them.
You got some 7:30 ones coming. They're 6:30
Yeah.
here.
yeah, what time? What is that? Oh, that's midday. Yeah, midday in the UK.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're both 6 hours, 5 hours, and 6 hours behind, aren't you? Yeah.
5, yeah. It's amazing though. I'm telling you, the U.S. networks are broadcasting so much more. Obviously, the focus on Premier League games, but people start their day now by watching English football. So Peacock does a tremendous job, and some of the other networks here, Fox Sports, obviously Fox Sports Soccer is broadcasting all the time. So there is more English football at your fingertips than ever before.
Okay,
Right.
listen, we are out of time. It's been an absolute pleasure to talk to you both. Stay in touch with all the Blues fans on Twitter, and Blues fans watching this on my YouTube. Contact the guys. The handles are at Tom Cordero and at Lawyer Nichols, right?
Correct.
Yeah, send them a message, and you guys are going to come over, and we'll meet up for a drink, and we'll go where Tom Brady went for a drink, and you'll never regret it. Thanks for joining us.
Deal.
And keep right on.
Thanks so much. Keep right on.
Thank you.